What's up everybody, it's RivTech and welcome back to the channel. EA DICE just announced Battlefield 2042's first patch of Season 2. Patch 2.1 goes live on September 27th and is full of new content. This video is going to go over the patch notes that include the rework of the map renewal, changes to vehicles, specialists, the gameplay in general, and what to expect going forward with the rest of Season 2 of Battlefield 2042 Master at Arms. And if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. Subscribing is absolutely free to do, and it helps to boost my video in the YouTube algorithm so more people can see my content. I would greatly appreciate it. Thanks. Alright guys, so let's get into the patch notes. If you haven't read them already, I will link them into the description below. There was a ton of new changes, and for most of them, I'm not going to get overly specific. I'm just going to cover the major wave tops. The first major change is one that PC players have been looking forward to since the beta came out, and that is the improvement of mouse input latency. This reduces the time it takes from pressing your mouse to an action happening in-game on screen. Hopefully now with the new changes, the mouse will feel more responsive in-game. The next major update is the rework of the map renewal. The rework of renewal was something that EA DICE talked about in their development update video. They're going to add new cover, they're going to update the terrain, and they're going to reduce the distance in between the flags. Hopefully this will mean an improvement in attacking and defending routes. The reduced distance between flags could also lead to more engagements, which means less time running back and forth in between flags and more time spending in combat. If you read through the patch notes, all of the other maps are getting updates to fix known issues as well, including the terrain, vehicles, visual effects, unreachable areas, sound, and AI improvements. The first new addition to the game will be the Polaris Razer. For those of you unfamiliar, a Polaris Razer is a 4x4 ATV that allows for high mobility and high speed. However, it is largely unprotected and doesn't have a weapon system on it, so it'll rely on partners shooting out of the side of the vehicle. The speed and mobility of the vehicle will allow you to quickly go from one point to another while playing game modes such as Conquest. Next, EA DICE added 3 vaulted weapons into the game. First is the P90, which is a submachine gun from Battlefield 3. If you've played other games like Call of Duty, you should be very familiar with the P90. Next is the Goal Sniper Magnum, which is from Bad Company 2. And lastly is the M1911 pistol from Bad Company 2 as well. It's good to see DICE keeping up their commitment to adding more weapons to the game, even if they're vaulted ones. Speaking of weapons, a big change came to the AM40 and Advances. It fixed an issue where the bullets were registered as submachine gun bullets. As you know, the AM40 is an assault rifle and the Advances is a light machine gun. And if you're looking for the best loadout for the Advances, you can check out my previous video on the Advances being broken in Battlefield 2042 Season 2 by clicking the card above. Another major change to the two weapons is that the standard issue ammo will now correctly display the intended magazine count of 20 for the AM40. And the AM40 and Advances can no longer shoot underwater. I never tried that before. The specialists Boris, Casper, Crawford, Irish, Liz, and Rao all got individual updates to their specialist abilities, which you can find in the patch notes. As you make your way further down the patch notes, another major change came to the balancing of transport and attack helicopters. Both the Apache and the Super Hokum had a buff to the velocity of the rockets and to the damage of the rockets, going from 100 to 130. Changes were also made to the 30mm cannon, where it had its rate of fire nerfed. However, the velocity was increased and the start and end damage of the 30mm cannon was buffed, going from 18 to 40 at the start and from 8 to 25 at the end. The Nightbird received a minigun buff, a lower wind-up time, lowered cooldown time, decreased dispersion of rounds, and an increased overheat time. Similarly to the Nightbird, the Hind dispersion has been lowered, its wind-up time has been lowered, and its wind-down time has been lowered, and the overheat time has been increased. Next, let's move into the gameplay. Aside from the aiming input latency being reduced, animations for repairs have been fixed, and a huge upgrade came in the form of grenade animations. The grenade had its cooking animation, throwing animation, and explosion animation fixed. There was also an improvement to the wingsuit landing for Sundance. A major change in movement was added to prevent crouch spamming. There was a cooldown time added in between standing and prone. This means no more bouncing up and down like in Call of Duty. A fix that I'm really excited about is an update to player collision, where the new player collision behavior for friendly soldiers to help prevent body blocking in tight spaces. If you played a map like Stranded and you ever try to get through the side lanes, you get stuck in the door all the time. With this update, friendly soldiers that are moving will now be able to move through other soldiers, but will be pushed away whenever they stop moving to prevent clipping. If you've ever stopped by any of my streams on twitch.tv/Rivtech or here on YouTube, you've heard me complain about clipping before. And lastly, EA DICE announced for mid-October that they will be having the Liquidators event. While they were very brief with the details on the Liquidators event, they did say that it was going to focus on close quarters and there was going to be an apparel event. Alright, so in conclusion, Battlefield seems to be heading in the right direction, especially after the release of the Modern Warfare 2 beta, which in my opinion didn't perform that well. It's great to see Battlefield 2042 consistently pumping out new content. There seems to be a really concerted effort into improving the game. Improvements, changes, fixes, and additional content are what's going to keep this game competitive going into the fall. Make sure to sound off in the comments below letting me know your thoughts on the new 2.1 update. Also, let me know if all this additional content is a step in the right direction for Battlefield with the upcoming Modern Warfare 2 game coming out, or if it's too little too late. As with every video I do, I appreciate you watching and committing your time to it. If you've made it this far into the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up and give it a like. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Again, subscribing is absolutely free to do. Also, if you like live streaming, I stream on Twitch and YouTube simultaneously if you ever want to stop by and check them out. Until the next one, guys, I've been Rivtech. Thanks for watching.